Hello, and welcome back to our journey through the history of America's native spirit. This is episode 9 of our 30-part series exploring the deep, rich story of bourbon. In our previous episodes, we've sipped our way through the very first whispers of whiskey making on American soil, but today we are zeroing in on the heartland of bourbon itself. This spirit story is not just about a drink. It is about the people, the places, the pivotal moments that transformed a simple farmer's whiskey into a global icon. To understand bourbon, we must first look at the people who made it. Before there was a United States, there were settlers pushing west. After the American Revolution concluded in 1783, a wave of humanity began to cross the Appalachian Mountains. These were tough, resourceful people. They were farmers, hunters, adventurers, looking for a new life on the frontier. These early pioneers brought their distilling knowledge with them. Many were of Scots, Irish, German, or English descent. In their homelands, they made whiskey from barley or rye. Whiskey was more than just a drink. It was a vital part of frontier life. It served as medicine, a social lubricant, a safe alternative to often contaminated water. Importantly, it was also a form of currency. It was much easier to transport a barrel of whiskey to market than a wagon full of bulky grain. What did grow exceptionally well was corn. This native crop thrived in the Kentucky soil. Naturally, these distillers began to adapt their recipes. They started using corn as the primary grain in their mash. This simple agricultural shift was the first crucial step in creating a new style of American whiskey, one that would be sweeter and have a different character than its rye-based cousins. The spirit they made was likely rough and unaged. It was a clear spirit, often called white dog, that was consumed locally or traded for necessary goods. It was simply whiskey, but the foundation was being laid. The use of corn, the limestone water of the region, and the drive to create a tradable commodity all came together in the late 1700s, setting the stage for the titans who would give this spirit its name and its soul. The late 18th century was a period of rapid settlement in Kentucky. As more families poured into the region, small farm distilleries became a common sight. A farmer might produce a few barrels a year, keeping some for his family and trading the rest with his neighbors or a local merchant. One of the earliest names we can attach a firm date to is Jacob Myers. Records show he was distilling in the Kentucky area near what is now Louisville around 1779. Then, in 1783, Evan Williams, a Welsh immigrant, set up his distillery on the banks of the Ohio River in Louisville. Williams is often credited as Kentucky's first commercial distiller. Another key family enters the picture around this time, the Beams. The story begins with Johannes Jakob Beam, a German immigrant who moved his family to Kentucky. He saw the opportunity that corn farming presented. In 1795, Jacob Beam sold his first barrel of whiskey. This date, 1795, is a monumental one in bourbon history. It marks the official beginning of a distilling dynasty that would span over 2 centuries and become synonymous with the word bourbon. Myers, Williams, Beam. They were pioneers. They were among the first to see distilling as more than just a way to use up leftover corn. They were businessmen. They established their operations in strategic locations, often near rivers that would provide the transportation needed to get their product to distant markets. Their success inspired others, and by the turn of the century, Kentucky was dotted with distilleries. The state's identity was becoming inextricably linked with the production of corn-based whiskey. No discussion of bourbon's origins is complete without talking about the Reverend Elijah Craig. The legend claims that in 1789, Craig was the first to age whiskey in charred oak barrels. As the story goes, he stored whiskey in barrels accidentally charred in a fire. After a long trip downriver to New Orleans, he discovered the whiskey had transformed. It had a reddish color and a mellow flavor of vanilla and caramel. Thus, bourbon was born. This is a fantastic story. The problem, very little historical evidence supports it. Elijah Craig was real, a prominent minister and a distiller. He started his distillery in 1789, which is likely where that specific date comes from. The truth is that charring was a known practice used by coopers for cleaning and sanitizing barrels for many goods, not just whiskey. The realization that storing whiskey in these charred barrels for long periods improved the product wasn't one man's eureka moment. It was a gradual discovery, a collective innovation. Craig is the symbol, not necessarily the source. The solution to getting whiskey to market flowed right past their doorsteps, the river system, which flowed all the way down to the bustling port of New Orleans. This journey downriver was not just a delivery route, it was an essential part of the aging process. The constant movement, combined with the dramatic temperature swings, forced the spirit deep into the wood of the barrel. In New Orleans, this superior whiskey from Kentucky began to gain a reputation. To distinguish it, they started asking for it by its place of origin. Many of the barrels were stamped with their port of departure, which was often in what was then the very large Bourbon County.
When people in New Orleans wanted that specific aged corn whiskey from Kentucky, they would ask for that whiskey from Bourbon. Overlaid on action, merchant says, "Give me some of that whiskey from Bourbon."
The name was not created by a marketing team, it was bestowed by consumers who recognized its unique quality. This is how a regional specialty started to become a brand. The 19th century began with bourbon as a regional specialty, but it would end with bourbon as a nationally recognized spirit. This transformation was fueled by the Industrial Revolution. For bourbon, this meant moving from small, seasonal farm stills to larger, year-round commercial operations. Distillers invested in larger copper stills, built multi-story warehouses for aging, and hired full-time staff. A key date in this transition is 1810. In that year, a federal census recorded that Kentucky had produced an astonishing 2.2 million gallons of whiskey. As distilleries grew larger, the challenge of consistency became paramount. A major breakthrough came with the perfection of the sour mash process. It was Dr. James C. Crowe who is credited with scientifically refining and standardizing it in the 1830s. He brought a scientific mind to an industry that had long been based on tradition and guesswork. The sour mash technique involves taking a portion of the spent, acidic mash from a previous distillation and adding it to the new batch. This controls the pH and ensures a consistent flavor profile from batch to batch. The whiskey he produced at the Oscar Pepper Distillery, the site of today's Woodford Reserve Distillery, became famous for its exceptional quality and consistency. From the first farmer distillers to the scientific minds who demanded consistency, the foundations of the modern bourbon industry were laid in this explosive period of growth. Join us in our next episode as we explore how the railroad and the glass bottle transformed bourbon from a regional product into a national brand, and how the industry fought for its very soul, leading to one of the first consumer protection laws in American history. If you liked this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe.